Florida's experiencing a housing crash, and home sellers can't give their houses away. Price cuts are happening. Some cuts are even taking sellers back to 2019 prices when they originally bought the house, and it's crickets. Home buyers seem to have put their foot down. They're not pulling a trigger for whatever reason. For whatever reason. Well, today I have with me Florida real estate broker Phil Simonetta. He's been a contributor to our podcast and through the years, and we appreciate his boots on the ground reporting. Phil, thanks so much for joining us again today.
Hey, always good to see you, buddy.
So is it as bad or worse than we're hearing in headline news, the Florida market?
The headline news is about a month and a half behind the real numbers.
This show is brought to you by Sachs Realty.education. Here you can find my Todd Simple Home Buying course. It's self-paced, packed with insider secrets, teaching homebuyers how to save potentially tens of thousands of dollars when buying a home and how to avoid costly mistakes. The link is pinned in the comments below.
The headline news is about a month and a half behind the real numbers. It's actually a little bit worse for what we're seeing. I mean, our days on the market are at record highs, our inventories are record highs, and our closed transactions are at record lows. The only thing that comes next is price drops.
Yeah, and you're seeing that, right?
Yeah, we're right now throughout the state. I mean, there's different local markets, but we're anywhere from 3% to 12% down year over year right now, depending on where you're at. I mean, there are pockets, Boca Raton, Delray Beach, they're holding values. They're not coming down. Ponte Vedra Beach, there are markets that are always going to hold up. But in general, you're down 3 to 12%, depending on where you are. And I see another 10, 15% drop in some of these places.
What you just said, Boca Raton especially, I mean, they're rich people buying there. I mean, these
Super
are
rich.
millionaires.
Yep, super rich. But they're holding. Again, those kind of areas are always going to be in demand, and there's going to be a limited amount of properties available. So it's like a little bubble that's always going to be, because people want to be there and they're willing to pay.
Well, we'll cover some areas specifically that are experiencing the biggest drops, and a lot of those are on the golf side of things, and so which is kind of surprising. But tell us what's going on with the home buyers. Have they just checked out?
Yeah, well, the buyers right now, I wouldn't say they checked out. They're just being patient and they're waiting. The buyers I'm working with, I have 4 right now. I'm working with, and right now they're super qualified. Ready to go. It's just that we're going in. We're seeing properties. They've been on the market for a very long time. We're offering them, where we feel the market's going to go, and I try explaining to the agents, hey, this is why we're offering this. Here's where we are, and they're just being patient. They're not checking out. They're just waiting for the right deal. But unless they're in a position where they need to do something, I have a couple listings right now where, they're estate situations or divorce situations where people need to sell. They're the ones that are really getting anxiety and getting frustrated. But other than that, things are really frozen up. Things are really locked up. There's not much happening.
You were telling me about, and before we go into that, I want to talk about what you had just said. And I think this is important, and a lot of people that are listening to my channel, they're home buyers sitting on the sideline. You may say they're not checked out. I'd say they're checked out for now anyway, because they're realizing that home prices across the country are softening. I mean, it's a fact. It's not, this isn't something that I'm, pulling out of my, what, but, what buyers have to realize right now, and before they're even hiring an agent, if they decide to do that at all and not represent themselves, but a lot of times the conversations are very important. You said that you call the agents, you talk to them. I mean, that's a very smart strategy, because they have to understand why the prices, why the offers are coming in where they are. And a lot of these listing agents do understand that. I mean, I'm sure you're hearing that. Well, just say, tell us, what are the agents telling you when you come in with a much lower price than what it's already dropped to? In a lot of cases, it's been sitting on the market for a year, 9 months. What are these agents telling you?
It seems like they're afraid to present the offer. it seems like they don't like they don't want to present the offer because I don't know if they maybe promised them a higher price or you know listed at a higher price because that's what they wanted to do and fed into it instead of telling them the reality. It seems like they don't want to present it. I even offered it them. I said, listen, with your approval, we can do a 3-way call. Call them up, tell them we got an offer. I'll present the offer to them, tell them why. I have no problem doing that, but a lot of these agents don't want to do that, and I don't blame them, and I even question sometimes, even if they present the offer, just because of the way they're, talking to me and the way they're handling it. But what can we do? I mean, it's hard to, the MLS allows us to, present the offer if we have a doubt, but it's frustrating. And I'll give you another example. I have a gentleman who wants to see a property. The property's been on the market for 400 days. 2 days now, I'm trying to reach the agent. I can't schedule it online. It's not set up through showing time. The agent has not returned my call. Today, I'm going to call the broker. 2 days, I'm trying to show a property, $580,000 property. It was started at $750, and it's been on the market literally 400 days with 2 different agents. And my buyer's interested in it, making it a serious offer. And I can't get a hold of anybody to go show it. It's insane.
Are any agents telling you that they refuse to present the offer?
No, I haven't gotten that because they know they have to. I mean, they're legally bound to present the offer. Doesn't matter if it's $10, they have to present it. But I mean, who knows? I mean, it's Florida, it's the Wild West, man. They could tell you one thing and never present it. And I think that's happening in some of them.
Are you finding where some of these agents are agreeing with you?
No, they're definitely agreeing with me. And what I am in the conversations we're having, they're frustrated as well. It seems like, they're trying to bring the prices down and do price adjustments with the clients. And it seems like the clients are butting heads with them. And if you look at some of the numbers, dude, there's over 2,000 cancellations in the last 7 days on listings. Cancellations means that they're releasing the sellers,
Well, let's
from
pull
the
that
deals.
up. I
And
know
that's a lot.
you sent
It's
me
a
a
lot.
chart. You sent me some listings that we're going to look at
Yeah.
here and show people. But we'll start with
Yeah.
this chart. Tell us what's going on with this. Is this
Yeah.
is updated as of when?
This is updated as of last evening. I put this together last evening, knowing we were going to be doing this morning. And what this is the last 7 days in the Stellar MLS. Stellar MLS is the largest area MLS in Florida. I'm in 3 different ones. We have Beaches MLS, which is like St. Lucie County down to the Keys. Flex MLS, which is like Jacksonville over to the Gainesville and that whole area. And then Stellar is the biggest area wise. So that'll go from Daytona Beach all the way over to Tampa, down to Cape Coral, and over to like just the top of St. Lucie County, where the other one lets off. So it's kind of the whole center of the state. So when you look at these numbers, you're getting the massive area. Now, the numbers, the percentage differences are the same in all the MLSs, just the amount of the numbers change because of the volume of land and properties in the area. So this one here shows you in the last 7 days, there's been 10,343 new listings. Okay. You see price decreases, 14,242. That means in the last 7 days, that's how many properties came down in price. You do see price increase there, which is a little misleading sometimes. That there is like the builders when they put a coming soon or they have something and they finally hit the market and the price hits, it's like an increase. So
A
that's
lot of
kind
it's
of
new
what we're seeing there.
construction too. A
Yeah,
lot of it's new
exactly.
construction.
Exactly.
Builders raise prices. They're infamous for doing that.
But as I was saying, like days on the market, inventories at all-time highs, and closings are at all-time lows, deals going through at all-time lows. And now you also have deals falling apart at all-time highs. Look right there. Back on the market, 2,734 deals fell apart in the last 7 days in this MLS.
Well, if we look at those metrics, that's more than 25% of the new listings. So you have 10,343 new listings in 7 days. You have 2,734 back on the market. That's about 25% ratio, more than that actually, of contracts that are closing compared to houses coming on the market for sale.
Right. And it's even worse. Look at the sold. Sold was 6,600 and back on the market was 27. It's almost a third of sold contracts falling apart.
Now, explain to us when the busy season is for Florida, because a lot of the country, it's the spring market for obvious reasons. People want to get moved over the summertime before their kids go back to school and before they take vacations and things like that. What would you consider what is the peak market in Florida?
Yeah, it depends on where you are because like South Florida peak market is the season. That's October to May. People are here in the wintertime. They're coming down. They're spending the winters here. They're buying October to May. When you get up to like Central Florida, Orlando, Kissimmee, St. Cloud, where you have families, it's more like the rest of the country, where people are trying to get settled in before school starts. Jacksonville, this area up to St. Augustine, St. Johns County is a very, very big family oriented area.
So it's
Of
not
course,
really the peak season.
not in all of Florida. No.
And so, but even in the family oriented, I mean, that would run true that spring is probably your busiest season. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I mean. Yeah. Yeah.
So we're not in peak market. We're not hitting where the snowbirds maybe are buying in October. And we'll get into the exodus and whether you're seeing, new snowbirds coming to Florida with all the, what's been going on with hurricanes and stuff like that. But pull that chart back up a second here. When we're looking at new listings at 10,000 hitting the market in what really is not the peak season, does that alarm you? Is that a big number?
This is huge, Todd. It's been this way for the last 7 to 8 months, every 7 days. The average numbers, I'm talking 2 years ago, 3 years ago, you might see 1,500, 2,000 every 7 days.
So
I mean, these numbers are astronomical, man. I mean, it's insane.
Why are
And
people selling?
I think people are selling because they're either getting out of Florida or they're trying to get their equity out of the properties. They're either second homes, investment properties, or they're just downsizing. These people, the cost, the insurance has tripled on these homes. The taxes are going up. Now they're talking about getting rid of the taxes. We'll see what happens politically with that. People are just fed up with the cost. The affordability is gone. Just to live and have an average, home in Florida, you need $125,000 a year, $160,000 a year with all the insurance, the taxes, the overhead, the utilities are tripling. Our utilities give you crazy. I mean, $275 a month is normal utilities for electric. Our electric bill was $515 last month, and nothing's changed. I used less electric than the year before, and it's actually that much more. People can't afford it. It's crazy.
Yeah, you were telling me. So I want to talk about the people selling because they want to get their equity. I spoke with a couple that just moved back to Maryland. They moved to Florida. They wanted to get out of the state of Maryland. They moved to Florida, and they sold about a year ago. And this is in it's Punta Gorda, one of the areas that's crashing the most right now. And they said, thank God they got out when they did. But when you see that people are selling because they want to capture what equity they have, are they telling you that, I mean, are you getting the feel that it's because they know the market's declining fast and they're afraid they're going to lose their equity?
That's exactly what it is. They're afraid they're going to lose the equity, and they're afraid they're not going to be able to get out. They can't even rent the places because the rents are falling and it's not covering the expenses.
You were telling me.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Speaking of Punta Gorda, speaking of Punta Gorda, I have a property as a short sale there right now. Okay, it's over in Punta Gorda. They're right off of the water, and the value of it was $380,000. That's what the appraisals. That's like what the values are. I have it listed at $300,000 as a short sale right now. I haven't had a call in 4 weeks. 300,000, and the comps are showing 380. We started at 350. Drop it to 325. Now we're at 300. Nothing. I had one call the whole time on the property.
And this is a property
while it's been on the market.
And this is a property that you told me that you're back basically to 2019 price when they bought it.
That's exactly where it is. It's back to the 2019 price where they bought it. And it's a short sale because the people who owned it actually, as the property increased, they took a mortgage out and they took equity out. Now they're underwater because, they owe $360,000 on a house that was worth $380 supposedly. We can't even get a call on a short sale at $300. So it's something that's like mind blowing. But it's that's where it's going. Prices are going back to 2017, 18, 19. I really think so.
Explain to everybody what a short sale is.
Okay, a short sale is when you sell the property and the bank will accept less than the bank is owed, just to get out of the property. Instead of having a foreclosure or instead of having any other issues, they figure it's just a better deal to take less, write it off, and not have to go through that whole foreclosure expense and process.
So do you think this is going to be a thing? I mean, do you think short sales are going to come back? You think a lot of people are underwater?
Yeah, this is the second one I'm working on in the last month and a half. Um, they're coming back. The banks don't want the properties. The banks want the money, and if they can get out of it without taking the properties, because we all know when the bank takes the property, there's maintenance problems. People aren't taking care of them while they're living in them, and the bank loses all that money plus the court costs and all. It all gets tacked on, but they got to put all that out up front. And I think the short sales are gonna come back pretty hard.
All right, Phil. Let's. I want to talk about the withdrawals and the canceled, and what's going on with those. So, why are people canceling their contracts? I mean, what we talked about here: 2,734, 1 in 3 back on the market compared to the sales. As you said, it's about a third of the houses are coming back on the market, not closing. And then we have canceled as well. Why are people canceling their contracts?
Okay. So let me explain the difference between expired and canceled. So expired is when you have your 3 to 6 month contract for a listing and the date runs out and it expires, right? So you have 4,161 of those in 7 days, right? Then canceled is when a buy or when a seller decides that they're not happy or they're not going to sell the property with the listing agent. And that is when the listing agent releases them from the contract. See, when you list a property and you have a listing agreement, as you know, share for everybody else, they're bound to that brokerage for that term. But a cancel is when the brokerage actually releases them and they no longer have that that they're not bound to them anymore. They can go to a different broker or a different agency and relist or do whatever they want to do. So those cancellations of 2,100 is those situations in the last 7 days. That's where people are probably unhappy with the service or with the showings or with the marketing or whatever's happening with their listing. And they're actually having the broker cancel it and release the liability, and they can move on to relist and resell because a lot of those come back on the market. Now, if you look at the withdrawals, that means they just withdrew it. They just withdrew it from the market and they left it with the brokerage in case they decide to resell it, right? Or they can be painting the house and putting it back on. It's just withdrawn, right?
Right.
And then temporary off the market seems similar with that.
But when you're looking at 2134 canceled, 1066 withdrawn, 2734 back on the market in this 7-day period. Just for everybody, that's 48.
Don't forget the 4,100.
I mean, that's almost 6,000 properties. So you sold 6636, and almost that total has either been the contract has either fallen through or it's withdrawn where the sellers, for whatever reason, are saying, screw you, maybe to their agent, or to saying,
don't
we'll
forget
hope for better days, and canceled. Almost 1-to-1 ratio
of
but actual closed to,
But it's worse. Look at the expired. There's 4,100, and look at the temporary off the market. That's another 7. So it's actually over 10,000.
Yeah.
You're looking at the canceled, withdrawn, temporary, but look at the expireds and look at so you're 1-to-1 for the new listings of what's going on and coming off. It's like 1-to-1. It's crazy.
Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying the show so far. I just wanted to take a brief minute and share some exciting news. I have just released my new Todd Simple home buying course. This course is designed for anyone wanting to know how to buy a home. It's designed to take you through the entire home buying process from start to finish. You'll learn how to represent yourself should you want to avoid paying real estate commissions, the best ways to shop for a home, how to avoid costly mistakes, what to look for when touring a home, negotiation tactics, and so much more. In this home buying course, I hold nothing back. In fact, I would go to say that no one has uncovered the home buying process like I have. I've even made a way for you to gift this course to your family and friends. Visit saxrealty.education. The link is also pinned in the comments below. Now back to the show. And so your chances when you list your house, your chance of actually getting it sold are less than, you have less than a 1-to-1 ratio here. So for as many that are being sold, more are falling through. That's crazy.
Absolutely. It's I've never seen it before in 20 years, dude, of doing this.
So why are buyers backing out? Why are buyers backing out, Phil?
The buyers that I see are backing out It's it's buyer's remorse. First of all, they're seeing like they see the house, they're having the inspections. Now the houses need some maintenance and things, and the sellers don't want to kick in the maintenance. They're investigating what the insurance cost is going to be because they're not doing that before they make the offers. And then they're realizing what the taxes are. Their agents aren't really breaking down the taxes and the full cost to them until after they start, they want the contract, right? They get the contract and they figure everything will fall in place. I don't understand that mentality because why do all that work if it's not going to work out? You should do that all up front.
Is the lack of home sales starting to impact industry companies? I mean, we're talking about home inspectors are depend. I mean, sales are dead. What are home inspectors, title companies, loan officers, real estate agents? What are they doing? Are you seeing them fall out now?
Yeah, I see a lot of it, a lot of it. And I'll give you an example. I just spoke to an electrician that does a lot of work, and I spoke to a plumber yesterday. I bought another bus. We're actually building another pizza bus out to put up where we're putting the bar in Pennsylvania. And so what's happening is the plumber I talked to, this guy has his own company, and he was telling me two of his friends actually shut their companies down and went to work for bigger companies that have big contracts with the city and things like that. And the electrician, same thing, smaller company. The guy's very well known, very popular. There's a lot of new construction, and he's saying the same thing. That people are having hard times. Business has slowed down. Even in new construction, the contracts with them have slowed down, and they're worried about getting paid. Actually, he was telling me that there's been a couple builders that aren't paying. They're doing the work, and the builders aren't paying, and he's afraid the next thing's going to happen is these builders are either going to fold or file bankruptcy, and they're going to be stuck. So I was actually having that conversation yesterday with these two people, which is that's the first signs again of the downturn.
Yep. Going back to that, I mean, in the '08 crisis, I mean, I remember even before that, did a lot of work for builders, and they were the riskiest clients to have. I mean, they screwed you the most back then.
Right, that's what he's telling me.
Yeah. Now, I mean, I can remember one national builder was financially insolvent, so they said, and offered me 10 cents on a dollar, which they owed me a lot of money back in the day. And my attorney told me to take it because you may not get anything. And they've restructured, and I'm not going to say their name, but they're still around today. They're a very big company.
Well, usually that's what they do. They usually go out and then come back or either restructure. That's what they do.
Is there an end in sight? I mean, you said that you were expecting, so depending on where you are in Florida, and I want to look at a couple areas here. Phil, I want to look at this chart. This is on Newsweek, and recently too, back in July, but I still think, if anything, this data has become even more relevant. But if we look at this interactive map here, and we look at the year-over-year price declines, the change, Naples, you can see 19.2%, Cape Coral, 9.6%, Punta Gorda, I mentioned them earlier, 14.5% down, North Point, Sarasota, Bradenton, 9.9% down. I mean, most of these are on the coast. You can see the Villages here, 11.3% year-over-year price declines. If you're talking about another 10 or 15, I mean, are you thinking that there's another 10 or 15% to go? So if a house is already priced down to 300,000, that they could be looking at another 45,000 actually in the mid twos?
I really do. I'll tell you something. That's where the prices were in 17, 18. And these areas you're seeing that are coming down the most are the ones who went up the most during the pandemic. The ones that were falsely inflated the most, like, just with the demand, and what was happening. That's what you're seeing here. These are the areas that went up the most.
At what point do the investors start diving back in? I saw, and I don't know if it was, I'm trying to think of where recently one of the counties, maybe about it, just they're proposing to raise the occupancy allowance in a house to right now it's set for 10. I'm specifically talking about like Airbnb hosts and stuff like that, which a lot of people have bought Florida houses for the purpose of short-term rental because it's a popular vacation destination. And one of these municipalities and the neighbors are all up in arms because they want to raise the occupancy limit. They want to eliminate a 12-year-old or younger from the occupancy limit. So right now the occupancy is set at 10. That includes young kids. They're proposing removing that. In other words, if there were 10 people and each of them brought, or 5 of those people brought 2 or 3 kids, I mean, you could literally have 25 people in a house. At what point do you start seeing investors jumping back into the market, or have you
Um,
already seen it?
Now, the investors, when the cash flow's there, they're going to come back, but it's not there. I mean, you can't. You look at these homes and the prices, and then you look at the costs and the expenses, taxes, insurance, maintenance, HOAs. They're losing money. You can't rent them out now. The multi-unit is different. Multi-unit properties. 10 units and up. There's still investors buying and building there, but the single family and the 2, 3, 4 unit properties, it makes no sense. It costs you every month to own it. There's no cash flow.
Would you say the bulk of Floridians, aside the retirees, are people that work for some of the maybe the lowest paying jobs? I mean, hospitality, unless you're a bartender in a very popular place or a waiter or waitress, I mean, maybe you're making a lot of cash, but so long as people keep spending money. But other people, I mean, you say the rental business is big and the 10 unit plus, that's because a lot of these
Yeah.
people can't afford to buy. Do you
Right.
find that there are a lot of people living there that are below median income for Florida that, I mean, it's impossible for them?
Yeah, it goes to the affordability problem, and you're seeing people like that. They're roommating. You have 2, 3 people roommating. They're getting a 3-bedroom apartment or 3-bedroom house, and there's 2, 3 people splitting bills, things like that. Coworkers. You have a lot of that goes on in Florida. Most of the people who live here are, I would say, older, retired. Most of the people, the average people are not buying. The only people buying are people in certain or specific situations. Like I'm telling you, there's no married couples buying their first house right now. Nobody getting married or expanding or having a kid, getting a bigger house. Everything's downsizing, divorce situations, estate situations where they're selling a property. And then the buy side is somebody, same situation. They have an inheritance they got and they're buying something, or there's a specific reason they're moving here for work, or something's going on. That the whole picture is unbalanced. It's not a normal market. I've never seen it like this ever in the years that I've been in business. It's not a normal buyer. It's always a special circumstance from the people that I'm dealing with.
President Trump is talking about declaring a housing emergency. What are your thoughts on that?
I saw about that. I really haven't seen much about it. I don't know what the emergency, what he's calling it for. Can you give me a little information on that? I don't know.
Well, I mean, very little's been said, but he wants to come in and obviously he wants mortgage interest rates to be lower. And I think the pressure is there for that. But he also wants to standardize regulations for new construction, uh, maybe cut some red tape, allowing people, developers and contractors to build more affordable housing. He's talking about perhaps cutting tariffs on certain building materials. This is coming through Scott Besson. I have not heard. I've only seen articles. I have not heard the president talk about this directly, other than the fact that he says that we need cheaper mortgage rates so people can buy again. Do you think cheaper mortgage rates is the answer?
Now, I don't think just cheaper mortgage rates is the answer, because average mortgage rates are what, 5.5 to 7% is an average mortgage rate. And even if you get down to the 5.5 at the prices we're at today, it's still not affordable with the enters, the HOAs, taxes, the insurance. The bottom line is the prices have to come down. The prices have been falsely inflated due to the pandemic and the cheap mortgage rates of 2%. That should have never happened. You know, we talked about this before. People can afford a payment a month. And as long as that payment fits into the cost of the money. So if they're buying a house, the mortgage, the taxes, the insurance, their monthly expenses, right? As long as that payment covers that, it seems like the buyers didn't care what the cost was, the price. So the price shot up when the rates were 2%. Now you can buy a $600,000 house at 2% and have that payment work. But now, because the rates are 5.5, 6, 7%, now that house has to be worth 400 to make that payment work. See, what all these people miss is people can only afford so much a month. That's why so many people in this country, buy on payment, right? They go get a car. They just, as long as they can afford the payment, even though they're paying too much money for the car over the whole loan, as long as they can afford that payment, that's what people look for.
Until the
And if
car
that
breaks
payment,
down.
right, or something, yeah, right, then they're stuck. But
Yeah.
the thing is, with the housing, this is what happened during the pandemic, because they could buy the $600,000 house at 2%. The first house sold, the second house sold, the comps went up. Now all the houses are worth 600,000. They're not worth 600,000. I just don't. They're not. I know what they cost to build. You know, the bottom line is now the demand is gone. The houses are still at 600,000, dropping to 550, 525, like what we're seeing. But that mortgage rate is still too much, and those expenses, the taxes, the insurance, the overhead, right, HOAs, is still way high to that payment that the people can afford. Until
Yeah.
that price comes down, it's not gonna we're stuck, man.
Yeah, a lot of people, you have to look at the numbers, right? So we're
Yeah,
not really making a lot more money. They say that people are making
yeah,
more money, but
yeah.
they're not. Not most people, I would say, are not.
If they're making more, they're spending even more than they spent before, so they're losing.
The debt's higher than it's been in a long time. And the other thing is, even if you look at, let's say we got back to 4% rates, it still isn't 2.75 or 74%. Not only that, but since we had those type of mortgage rates below 4%, like you said, these other costs have also gone up significantly. Property taxes nationwide have gone up on average 30%. You have some states' insurance costs, homeowners insurance, have doubled since the sub 4% mortgage rate. So we have to look at this thing from the perspective of doing the math, doing the numbers. And you're right. In my opinion, I agree 100%. The only thing that is going to get these buyers off the shelf is all of it combined. Cheaper home prices, cheaper property taxes as a result of values declining, cheaper homeowners insurance as a result of a replacement value being less because the home values are less. And on top of that, they would like the cheap mortgage rate as well. But I guess the question really comes down to, what do you tell a buyer right now? And I know, you just got your New Jersey license. You and I were just
Yeah,
talking, and you said you're going to go sell houses in New Jersey because they're selling, and which is a big indication that you're not making money in Florida right now
yeah,
selling houses. I think that everywhere is going to weaken and soften, but with that same spirit in mind, what do you tell people in Florida that
yeah,
are on the sidelines waiting? Are you telling them to continue to wait, continue to put low ball offers in, continue to let the sellers feel this pain of days on the market, this and eventually they'll come around or wake up as new comps are being set as
yeah,
to the real price now as these houses are closing? What do you tell the buyers?
yeah. The buyers, I tell them straight on, and that's what I'm doing now with them. I'm telling them, listen, if you like the house, here's where the market's going. Here's where it's going to be. I think this is where you should put an offer. And we're 50,000, 60,000, 70,000 under. And I say, look, if we can't get it for this, wait, because give it another 3 to 6 months and you'll get it. Just keep waiting. Because unless you have to be here and you have to buy this house and you're staying there long term, I just tell them, hold off. We got to get the right deal for them because it's not worth the money that they're going to spend.
Yeah,
And
even
when
if
it comes,
they are, even if they are going to stay there long term. I mean,
yeah,
right? You don't tell somebody not to buy. I mean, if they have the money to do it and
if
it
they
checks
need to
all the
do it and they want
boxes,
to do it,
go
right,
go buy the house. But at the end of the day, even if they are, I mean, no one likes to buy something where they realize that, oh my gosh, I could have saved another $50,000 had I waited 3 more months. And
right,
on top of that, that's one of the reasons why I say Bitcoin. It will never be something that we use as money, because what'll happen is the fluctuation of the value. I mean, you could buy a cheesesteak today,
yeah,
cheesesteak sub today, and find out that tomorrow, if you would have if you'd have waited tomorrow, it would have cost you 2 cents. But
yeah, yeah,
instead, today it costs you $20. I mean, it's
yeah,
the same thing. Why do you want to go into the market when you know that it's falling?
yeah,
And price declines are happening? At what point do you enter? Let's take a look at a
yeah.
couple of these listings you sent me.
Brings up.
This one is in Kissimmee, Florida, 790K. You sent me these things. This was built in 2019. It's been on the market for 1 day. I'm kind of wondering why are we looking at this one
Look at this. Look at it. They dropped it $100,000 in 1 day.
in 1
I don't.
day? So what was the reason
I
for
don't.
that? Sounds like a game to me. Sounds like an
That's why I sent
auction
you this.
game.
That's why I sent you this. They had it listed at 890, put it on the market, and there was $100,000 drop the next day. This is just something I'm bringing up to people's attention because this is happening. You know, if you scroll down there, you'll see it. It was, I think, a little bit lower. It shows you the history. I thought this was very odd. Right down there, listed for sale, right there. Go up a little bit. Or is it there? Listed for sale, listing removed, and then put back on. That's 23, 25, 790. Where is it here? Yeah, I don't see it there. It was on the market for 1 day, and they took it all, or it was on the market for a little while. They had it up for 890, and they dropped it $100,000, like on 1 day, and it reprogrammed in here in Zillow. So I sent this over to you to show you how weird this was.
So I'm just kind of curious while we're looking at this one too.
Mm-hmm. So this one came on 879. Go down to the history of this one.
I did. It's nothing. I mean, we can't.
Why is it not shown? Wait, right there. Hold on.
That.
No, dude, this isn't. Okay, so this is weird because on the MLS, when I was looking at these properties, it showed me the drops. They're not showing on Zillow. This was another one, 70,000, I think. They dropped it. It's not showing here.
Pull it up in your MLS and let's see if we can share the screen.
Really? Here it is right here. Hold on. Yeah, no, here. 879. Let me look at the history right here. You want to share my screen quick? This is really weird because they're not showing this, dude. And I'm going to show you right now where it shows it. It was 950. This is weird. Zillow's not accurate. Can you see? I'm on my screen. I'm not on the.
So what you're showing us here, Phil?
You see this here? Look, 827 new listing, 950.
So what you're saying here is that Zillow's not showing this.
No, look, it's showing 827 new listing, and then look, price drop same day. Maybe because it's the same day it listed. Maybe there's some kind of quirk there that they can do this. So look here, 950 down to 879, same day. See it?
Yeah. What about this?
Now let's go back to the first one.
What about this 1580 Nassau Point Trail?
Where is that? Is it in this MLS or a different one? Okay, that's in Stellar. So, yeah, that's it. Okay, so what is it? 1580?
Yep, Nassau Point Trail.
Let's just see, man. Here we go, right here, right? So 790.
Yep.
Let's look at the history. Here you go. Look, 890 down to 790, same day. No, day before, September 2nd, 890. September 3rd, 790.
Okay, so here we go, guys. So we have found something here that Phil is showing us. And, I was thinking that we were going to have to cut this stuff out, but, what we got here is inaccurate information. There's some kind of a crossover between what Zillow is showing. Well, this is very interesting. What's your opinion on that one, Phil?
Yeah, there you go. So look, this is the first one. Listen.
So we're not getting transparency is what you're telling us.
I don't think so. Look at the first one I showed you where it showed no price drop, right? And you said, that's weird. So we looked here. It's showing 890 on the market.
And that's clearly the next day.
Yeah, literally. That's the first one there. Not September 2nd.
Clearly the next day.
Let's do both of them quick so that people can see this. So look, September 2nd, new listing, 890,000. The next day, they dropped it.
Well, $100,000. They're looking at it.
Now go back to Zillow quick and show where it shows no price drop.
Right, here it is. Isn't that the Nassau Point, whatever, right?
Yeah, this is Nassau Point, Kissimmee. So let's pull that one back up on your side.
And here's your price history. It doesn't show anything from 9/2 when it hit the market. Now, could it be that they did a delayed marketing for a day? No, because Zillow would have banned it.
Yep, it would have been banned. It wouldn't be on Zillow, right? And then let's look at the other one. What was the address for the other one again? Let's compare that.
Well, the other one was Sugar Citrus. We just covered that one. Let's look at let's look at this one. Let's look at this one. Look at your 14317 Southwest.
Now is that which MLS?
Street. Okay, that's going to be Homestead, Florida.
Okay, that's going to be in Matrix. Let me switch my MLS. Hold on, I have to go into the different MLS.
It says Miami.
Yeah, that one is Beaches MLS. The other two were in Stellar MLS. So that was Central Florida. I just have to log in real quick here, which I'm doing right now. And
that's some interesting stuff here. Well, this one shows that On 9/3 of 2025, they dropped at 8.3%, but in April of 25, they took 11.8% haircut. So they're about 20% down based on what they originally wanted in the beginning of January of 25. Of course, they bought it 20 years ago for $107,000. So in 20 years, they basically want 6X.
Okay, so this one shows a drop.
The price is $550, a recent cut of $50K. Now tell me what your history says on this one.
Okay, put my screen up there. This one's accurate.
It's a different MLS.
This is a different MLS. It still looks the same because it's both matrix.
But maybe different rules. Okay, go ahead.
Right, different rules. So here you go. It was new on the market at $600,000 back in May. And it was on the market for 121 days, and they just decreased it to $550 September 3rd.
And that was the only price cut since April?
That's the only price.
April was cut too.
Yep.
80 grand price cut in April.
Okay, so wait, hold on. Now that was a different listing. It was a different agent. See the number difference here? So that was a different listing. You should
still be able to click on the history of that property and give
here it is.
MLS, right?
Oh, here it is. All the history's right here. You can see it all on this screen. I can go back all the way. Mortgage history, everything.
Okay, but
so you can see they had it on them.
Was it cut in April? Was that the only other price cut since January?
January 25, it was listed with a company at 680, dropped down to 600 in April 25th, and it expired. That was an expired listing.
Right.
And then they relisted it with a different, it could have been the same. Yeah, a couple weeks later, they started at 600. So they went from 680 to 600, expired, started at 600, and now they just decreased to 550. So these people, it's really $130,000 drop.
Okay, let's show my screen for a minute. Let's give Phil a minute to get this one up. Check this one out. This is 475 Brickell Avenue.
Yep,
looks like a condo, apartment 3510, Miami. Cut.
Give it to me one more time. I couldn't keep up with you. You went too fast. What is it?
475 Brickell Avenue.
Yep, Brickell. Yep.
Unit 3510, and you guys can see my screen while Phil is.
Okay, here we go. I'm on the screen. It seems like Beaches is accurate. Stellar wasn't. So
right.
Okay, so here we go.
The question. So this one was a rental too.
Yeah, it shows here they had it rented. Now get this. They were asking 50. They were asking 5,200. Look, actually, no, look, it started at 3,300, went up to 5,200. That's kind of weird. You see that there?
Yeah, they bought it in 324 for 423,000, turned around and tried to rent it for 2,500. That's kind of asinine. Why would you pay
doesn't make sense.
423,000?
It doesn't cover the expenses.
What? It doesn't cover? Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like, hey, that's stupid. Maybe they thought, hey, I'll buy this in 24. Home prices are skyrocketing, and they'll just continue.
The only thing I could think is, like, even here, like, look, they're asking 400,000, 500,000 for the house, but it rents for 3, and then they raise a rent to 5 to make it kind of coincide. You see what I'm saying?
I don't see that it was 5. I see rent. If we show my screen again,
yeah,
I don't see that. I see
it doesn't show it. Right.
They bought it for 423. They tried to rent it for 2,500, and then as for 3 months here. Look,
right.
4 months: April, May, June, July. They said, well, nobody wants it at 2,800. Maybe we'll raise the rent to 3,300 because I'm bleeding.
Right.
Then they said, well, nobody wanted it then. So here in August, they drop it back down to 2,800 and said, by now we're in September.
Now do me a favor, Todd. Come back to my screen.
They raised the price. Hang on. They raised the price again, $714.25. I guess they had it rented maybe 3,300. They drop it to 3,000. They said, F it. We're going to sell this thing for $515,000, which is 21.7% higher than they bought the house in 24.
Right. But come back to my screen really quick. I want to show you something.
And now they're just dropping it. They're 3.3%, man. That's nothing.
All right. So here we're back at my screen now. Now we're looking at this property. But look, there's numbers that aren't showing there. Look right here. They actually raised the rent price to $5,200 on August 15th.
But
Zillow
in all fairness, I don't know where it stands right now because I don't really mess with rental listings.
Yeah, I don't either.
But Zillow there for a while was charging like $10 a week or something for.
Yeah.
They went through a period of time where they were charging you to put the rental listing up, and a lot of agents said, "Screw that! I'm not gonna do that." Well, let's check another one here. Let's look at this one that you sent me. Cut 50,000. This 265 Northwest 135th Street, also in Miami.
Let me type that into.
There's got to be some worse scenarios than this than you sent me.
265. Yeah,
15-20%.
Yeah, and I went through these pretty quick just to pull these up. Hold on. It seems like Beaches is more accurate than what Stellar was. You see, this one here started at 549. I got it up here now. Let me see here. There we go.
Yeah.
So this one started at 549 in April. They dropped it to 518, and now they dropped it to 459.
Right.
So this is a $90,000 drop.
Yeah. Also was a rental, looks like, back in 2024 for $3,000.
See, this just
investors are having their asses fed to them.
This is what I'm telling you. This reinforces it. I'm showing you the investors are fleeing, dude.
Inventory because an investor that's paying. Well, let's see what did they pay for this thing. Let's look at that before I. Okay, that's
it looks like it closed. It looks like it closed at 525. It closed. It looks like in 24.
No, pending sale at 328, but I don't see it closed. You got to go back further.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't even see. Maybe they've just had it forever.
Yeah, I don't see it closed at all. Just pending and
can you look at the tax?
There you go. Look at 7/1/22 closed sale.
Look at the tax record for this one. 265 Northwest 135th Street.
I can pull it up.
This guy bought it.
Let me see if I can pull it up in iMap real quick.
Real estate investors that purchased a house, I don't care where it is in the country, for $450,000 is charging $3,000 in rent, is losing their ass.
No, I'm telling you, I'm pulling it up in iMap right here. This is the actual tax sheet. So we'll see dates, we'll see what he owes on it, all that stuff.
Well, I know there's a lot more. There has to be more significant price drops that are in this Zillow.
No, there are. I mean, listen. I can, if I have some time, I can sit down. I can find you some huge ones. I mean,
the bottom line is you tell us that we are seeing price reductions.
Here we go.
You're telling buyers that they are more price reductions to come, at least another 10 or 15% is what you feel. And so that that's
here we go. Thing. Can you see my screen right now? Like, I don't know if you're seeing my screen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here's where this guy bought this. He bought this July 1922 for $335.
For $335. So he's not that far off. I still wouldn't take that deal. That sucks.
Yeah.
If it's a real estate investor, there's a 1% rule for any smart one out there. Unless you're, so in other words, if you're all in, and that's including closing costs, which isn't being disclosed here, any kind of recordation fees, any kind of repair costs, I take all of that, I put it in one pot and say, how much did this thing cost me to buy, regardless of whether you have a mortgage or not? If you're in $350,000 or $400,000, then the 1% rule, you needed $3,500 if you paid $350,000, $4,000 minimum 1% rule in order for it to make sense for investors, because people don't realize you lose your butt on an investment in landlording because people trash your place. You're going to have tenants that are going to need that you're going to have to go through eviction process. You got to re-rent ready. Yeah, you can find good tenants that stay there for 20 years, but it's rare. It is not a fun or good anymore good investment, in my opinion, to be a landlord. Go ahead.
Yeah, look at this too, Todd. This is something weird here. Look how odd this is here. Okay, so he bought this property July 1922, 335, right? Yet
which doesn't show in Zillow that I could see.
Right, but he bought it for this. But look at the mortgage, $370.
Yeah.
That's his mortgage. How did he get a mortgage $370 for something he bought $335?
It appraised. He probably did some kind of a renovation finagling. I don't know.
Renovation loan or something. Yeah.
Quick claim deed. It was a foreclosure.
So, here you go.
Yeah. I mean, somebody lost it, and he's now trying to make hundreds of thousands of dollars here in a couple of years, and he can't even rent the damn place. So anyway.
And I mean, the tax record's giving him, let me get out of here. Okay.
All right,
but dude, so that's that.
I mean, look, guys, the bottom line is, you can do your own research, pull up Zillow, look at these price reductions. I don't think that we showed you the best, most accurate ones here that Phil sent, but I think that you can agree that Florida is falling on its face.
Yeah, what blows me away is the inaccuracies. Like, I mean, that's crazy how you're not seeing what's really happening when you're looking through Zillow and these other sites. I mean, that should be pulling that information so people are seeing. I mean, dropping a price 100 grand in one day is kind of weird, you know?
Yeah, I completely agree. And I don't know why it's not showing up. I mean, the bottom line is we know that buyers all across the country are pulling back, and it's because they can't afford it. Or maybe they can afford it, but they don't feel the house is worth it. I mean, it's kind of like the stock market in a lot of ways. I mean, you look at a stock and you say, is it overvalued? If I buy it now and it goes down tomorrow, I lose money. And this is what a lot of buyers have been faced with over the last 3 years. They bought high at the highest level. It was 22 was the peak. I don't care what you say. It is a fact that that the market peaked in 22. Did some people still elevate median prices or average prices? Yes, they did. But that was because more rich people bought houses and they bought more expensive houses, and that altered that number. It's the fact. We have seen the age of the first-time buyer go up higher than it's been ever. I think it's 39 years old. 59 years old was the average buyer of real estate, period. The number one cohort of home buyers in the last year, according to, and I think it was 59 years old. I'm pretty sure I'm right on that, but you can check that too on Realtors, the National Association of Realtors home buying demographics. And all of these things add up to an overvalued housing market. So we'll see whether, regardless of our president, whether he is able to, help with affordability, somehow get us more affordable housing. I don't think the answer is just dropping the interest rate. But anyway, Phil Simonetta, thank you so much, buddy. And anybody wants to contact Phil, his information is in the show notes. Any parting words?
Yeah, just, hey, it's bad for sellers and it's good for buyers. It flipped, and that's what we got going on. Just stay patient and get a good deal. Hire the right person to work with you and make sure they have experience and make sure they know what they're doing.
Sounds good, buddy. Well, we'll keep in touch.
Yeah. All right. Good seeing you, man. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks so much for watching. If you liked the video, you can let us know by smashing that thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed to our channel, please consider doing so now. Hit that alert bell. You'll know every time we upload content just like this. Keep those comments and questions coming. And one of the biggest compliments you can do for us all here at Sachs Realty is to share our channel and this video with your family and friends. This will help us to continue to build this amazing online community with viewers just like yourself. See you next time. Sachs Realty, Maryland broker number 607720, office number 443-318-4514, equal housing opportunity.